What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so I'm kind of happy right now because of this news article that I'm about to read to you guys. This is so fascinating. Hunter Biden comes out and does an interview. And get this, folks. Get this. It just blew my mind when I saw this headline. Hunter Biden blames Ambien for President Biden's terrible Trump debate. Oh, so it was a Trump debate. It wasn't a presidential debate. Like, okay, my dude, like, seriously. We've heard all of the excuses in the book, except for that one. Now we've heard every single excuse in the book. They've thrown everything at this thing, trying to make any and every excuse for Joe Biden failing, except for the one thing that is the actual reason for his failure. His brain. It's the connection between his mouth and the processing unit, the organic processing unit that he has not that far away. This is so funny, y'all. It really, really is. And, you know, the corporate press, they're going to do what they're going to do to manipulate everything. So let's get into this because it is fascinating, y'all. Hunter Biden said in a new interview that his father, former President Joe Biden, has been taking Ambien in the period before his first presidential debate last June against then-candidate Donald Trump, and that the prescription sleeping pills contributed to his disastrous performance. Like I said, folks, now we've heard just about everything. Except for, you know, some sort of ED medicine as the cause. He was walking around with wood. We haven't heard that one, so, okay, I'll take it back. It hasn't been everything in the book, but just about. I tell you what, I know exactly what happened in that debate, Hunter Biden told independent journalist Andrew Callahan, in a lengthy interview published Monday, exactly 1 year after Biden abruptly withdrew from the 2024 presidential race. He flew around the world, basically. He's 81 years old. He's tired as shit. They give him Ambien to be able to sleep. He gets up on stage and he looks like he's a deer in the headlights, the younger Biden said. Is that so? Now, there are many logical inconsistencies with this because if my memory serves me correct. Okay, so he said he's traveling around the world. Okay, so my memory did serve me correct, as a matter of fact, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. I went and looked it up. Joe Biden had not traveled around the world in 2 weeks. 2 weeks prior. He pretty much was, you know, brushing up on his debate skills for that entire 2 weeks. If you guys remember, he disappeared for that 2 weeks. Nobody heard anything from Joe Biden. Yeah, he was practicing for that debate. I guess. We're not 100% sure what he was doing. But what do you mean flying around the world? Now, okay, so this kind of digs in a little bit to what was really going on here. Like, are we to just believe this? Why, I might ask you, would Joe Biden need to be taking Ambien? For one, I mean, he's 81 years old. He should not have any problems going to sleep. But for two, okay, the debate was at 7 o'clock at night. If memory serves, 7 o'clock at night. So, hang on, most people sleep during the nighttime. That means he would have took it the night before. Almost 24 hours prior. I'm sorry. You know, I've never taken Ambien. I'm not going to lie about that, but I have taken sleeping pills before. And, yeah, once you go to sleep and wake up, the effects from any sleeping pill have dissipated. So, I'm not buying this. Did we forget the debate was I think it was started at 7. It might have been 8. Something like that, but it was later in the evening. Right now, this actually was a very bad idea for Joe Biden because, as we knew at that time, that Joe Biden could only perform from about, 10 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon, and then he was Sleepy Joe for the rest of that time. So, hey, that's on them. Maybe they should have done the debate earlier in the day. Maybe Joe Biden would have actually done pretty good. I doubt it, but it is what it is. But none of that made any sense. Oh, he was flying around the world and they gave him Ambien and he went to sleep and he woke up groggy. Right. Joe Biden's live debate performance was marked by stumbling, meandering answers and a quiet, raspy voice that took viewers by surprise and immediately raised questions about Biden's fitness to serve another term. No, it didn't. See, they're still trying to pretend. Oh, it surprised everybody. No, it didn't. Anybody that was paying close attention to politics and wasn't being deluded by the corporate press, by you guys, as a matter of fact, not you guys, but you guys, the corporate press guys. Anybody that wasn't being deluded by the corporate press and Joe Biden's cabinet members saw this coming from a freaking mile away. Now, I'm not going to lie. Some people actually did. There was a streamer. I forget his name right off the top of my head. But before the debate, he threw up a tweet. I forget the exact wording, but basically what he said was Joe Biden's going to run out on the stage, slam a Red Bull, and rip Donald Trump a new one. And then after the debate, if you go look at his post, it was pretty much, WTF did I just watch? Fascinating. These people don't pay attention to politics, right? You got to watch the guy. I'm just saying. A little over a month after the debate, Biden announced he was dropping out of the presidential race, clearing the way for Vice President Kamala Harris to secure the Democratic nomination. Biden's campaign staff at the time attributed his hoarse voice to a cold. So if you guys remember, that's what it was. Oh, he has a cold. Now it's, oh, he was on sleeping pills. Yeah, right. And Biden himself later said that his poor performance was due in part to a packed travel schedule before the showdown with Trump. Once again, folks, did we forget that he wasn't traveling 2 weeks prior to that debate? The corporate press, though, you know, they got to do their thing. Biden had traveled to Europe twice in the month leading up to the debate, but he was back in Washington, D.C. almost 2 weeks before the debate. Hunter Biden's remarks were the first time anyone close to Biden has mentioned Ambien in connection with the former president's debate performance. They are also likely to serve as fodder for a Republican-led House Oversight Committee investigation into Biden's mental acuity during the final year of his presidency. As a part of that investigation, 3 Biden administration officials, Annie Tomasini, Biden's deputy chief of staff, Anthony Bernal, chief of staff to former First Lady Jill Biden, and Dr. Kevin O'Connor, who served as Biden's White House doctor, have been called to give closed-door depositions before the committee about Biden's cognitive fitness, and they've all testified. All 3 have invoked their Fifth Amendment rights and declined to answer questions. That is right, folks. So in case you guys missed that video that I covered this, yeah, they didn't just decline to answer questions about Joe Biden. They declined to answer any questions at all, invoke their Fifth Amendment rights to self-incrimination. That's fascinating if you ask me. Now, I understand you talk to a lawyer, and the lawyer's going to tell you, you know, don't talk to cops, especially. And that's kind of, you know, of course the House Oversight Committee, they're not cops. But they're not your friends, that's for sure, to these people at least. So you don't want to talk to them. You don't want to give them any information that they can later use against you in a court or committee of whatever, right? So they just didn't say anything at all. Now, I will have to say, that's weird. Very, very weird. Because, once again, these are not law enforcement. These people cannot be charged with anything that I can think of. Maybe they can. But it's fascinating they invoked their Fifth Amendment rights and didn't answer any questions at all, even unrelated questions to Biden's mental acuity. That's fascinating, don't you think? Now, it's very telling to me, and I will go ahead and say, what I am working toward here is the belief, at least that I believe, that they knew that Joe Biden was failing and he was not in control fully of his cognitive capabilities. They knew this, especially Kevin O'Connor. Had to know it. They didn't want to say nothing because they didn't want to incriminate themselves. I don't know, I just find all this fascinating as hell. It's not uncommon for witnesses to invoke their constitutional rights against self-incrimination when called before highly politicized congressional investigations. During the Democratic-led probes of the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack and Trump's efforts to stay in power after he lost the 2020 election, more than 24 witnesses declined to answer questions by invoking their rights. Oh, they had to just throw that in there, huh? You couldn't give any other examples. They had to go with, oh, Donald Trump tried to stay in power. He tried to coup his own government at the time. These people are insane, and everything is a manipulation these days, folks. Everything is a manipulation, and that's all to that story. But look, I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Y'all don't forget to smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you're new around here. That would be great. Share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. And y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.